Good morning and welcome to your Monday early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. Give you some things to think about today. This is a card deck that I think is of the new earth. Let's put it that way. So, and speaking of new earth, I have some things to share about that I think will be awesome. So we'll give it a minute to get some of you on and settled in. So as always, let's start with the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Dropping your shoulders. Wiggling into some of the creaks and groans this morning. Moaning Monday. Good morning, Teresa. I'm glad you're here. Looked like someone else was rolling, but guess not. Just you, Teresa. You're the first one on today. That's an unusual thing. This is good. Glad you're live. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling that move through your body. An intentional breath in to relax and open. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Wiggling again just a little bit. Seeing if there's a few less creaks. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for the coffee and the sunshine. I was noting this morning as I got up that it is darker out there than it has been. Not my thing. I like it light in the morning when I get up, and it can poop out whenever it decides it's going to poop out. I know those owls don't prefer that, but Good morning to whomever else has popped on. Glad you're here. We're just going to breathe deeply for a couple of minutes yet, let some people get on, and then we have a really cool card today. And I want to couch it in terms of something I felt drawn to do last night. Good morning, Jonille. Welcome, welcome. Breathe deeply. Breathing and allowing. Good morning, Janine. Your abdomen rising and falling, and your chest barely moving at all. Good morning, Cindy. Welcome, welcome. So, we again have the Wild Harmonic deck, which is popping up more days than not lately, which I think is interesting because I see it again as a deck that really bridges Earth with Celestial. And so I want to give you a little background on the deck itself, because I think that will help with today's card. But first I want to talk about, I felt a nudge last night to watch an Amanda Ellis video. Haven't watched one of her videos in ages. If you don't know her, she's a psychic. And I can't remember the title of the one I watched. It's one of her recent ones, like a couple of days old. And one of the messages that centered for me is one that we've been talking about, and it was about grounding. She said, you have a strong anchor going down and strong antenna going up. Good morning, Angie. Welcome, welcome. A strong anchor going down and a strong antenna going up. And I think that makes total sense because if you view yourself as being like a little antenna, good morning, Abigail, glad you're here. We have that grounding through the base of our spine and the bottoms of our feet into Mother Earth. I actually put a little smudge oil on the bottom of my feet today before I started this, and through the crown of your head. And notice that my throat chakra is giving me a little bit of guff this morning. Interesting. Anywho, strong anchor going down, strong antenna going up. That's what's called for right now. And we've been talking about that, haven't we? So I thought that was interesting that kind of message came through again. So Wild Harmonic deck. And the card we're reading is one of the cards that's beyond the five senses. It starts with the basics, earth, wind, fire, blah, blah, blah. But He calls it an elemental progression, and that when you have the first 5 elements in relative balance, it opens up the opportunity for the others, and then you get this sacred geometry that goes on. And if you look at most of the cards in this deck, they are sacred geometry cards. Let me grab a separate card here because I don't want to lose my page. But even on the back of the cards is sacred geometry. So he talks about, in this deck, the first 5 elements represent the ascent of one's energy up into and through the realms of insight and understanding. The last 2 elements, the celestial and dimensional cards, and we have today the dimensional of celestial, so it's both of those upper cards, represent the return journey. Once we have raised our energies into the light of vision and sovereignty, we then draw that light back down into our terrestrial elements. Have you not done that in a yoga class, where you breathe it up through the soles of your feet and out through the crowns of your head into the divine, and then gather that and bring it back down through your whole being, and heading both directions for however long you do that. So this journey of descent is one of the least understood, often dismissed, or even villainized and subconsciously feared aspects of our spiritual journeys. It's merely part of the journey. Merely part of the journey. It is what's called embodiment. Embodiment. So if we're just up there floating around in our celestialness, it's not grounded in Mother Earth. We're earth beings. We're walking this earth, right? So we need to embody that into right here, right now. And as it has been said, is solitary work that we cannot do alone. Isn't that an interesting way to put it? Solitary work that we cannot do alone. So what we're going to be doing today would be a facet of that. You'll be thinking about it on your own, but we've also will have learned about it together in the group, right? So I just want to run through the energies with you so that you're aware as we're going some of these things. And today's picture actually taps this from the base all the way up and through. So we start with root chakra, which is earth energy, located at the base of the spine. Move up to sacral energy, which is water, in the gut and in the front of the sacrum, the flowing feeling of life. Then move to solar plexus, which is fire. That's your energy center, right? Roughly in the stomach, behind the solar plexus, which is driving will. And we had a card on will recently, right? Then we move up to the heart center, which is air, located in the center of the chest. Interconnected intelligence. Interconnected intelligence. Then we have the throat chakra, which is spirit. Spirit of creativity. We also had that card recently. Third eye center, celestial. Inside the center of the head, celestial energies. And crown center, which is dimensional. Dimensional expanse. There's where the expandedness happens, because it's moving out of the body, so there isn't that container. It's much bigger than that, right? So now for our card, and please keep breathing, because that was another thing that Amanda Ellis made a huge point of. This was an hour 14-minute video, not a short deal, and she made great points about breath and how important breath is. Good morning, Linda. Welcome, welcome. So we want to make sure we stay breathing deeply. So here is today's card. Dimensional of celestial, victorious silence. And you'll notice that there's 3 areas highlighted: root chakra, the heart, and crown chakra. The whole head, actually. Whole head. So that we capture third eye and crown. But let's see what it has to say. Victorious silence, dimensional of celestial. As the energies of the dimensional expanse embody into the celestial realms, they bring with them the reminder of where all celestial bodies exist in the infinite space. So again, we talked about that in terms of duality, that the people who are stuck in the place of it's either or, it's this or that, it's us or them, are gonna not rise. That thought process has to change. Good morning, Mara. Glad you are here. That thought process has to change in order to open up to all that is, to the expansiveness. We feel comfortable in the certainty of that limitation, right? It's this or it's that. That locks us into something that isn't expansive. When we can say, it could be this, or it could be that, or it could be this, or it could be that, and it could be this and that and that and that. That's when we're moving into the expansion, okay? So again, look at the size difference also between the root, the heart, and the whole crown dimensional celestial stuff, third eye, etc. So he also says in the book, at the beginning of the book, don't worry if some of this stuff makes no sense to you whatsoever at this juncture. It's a process. It's like learning a new language. To begin with, it sounds like gibberish. You don't get any of it. Pretty soon you start picking out some stuff, right? So that's what this is going to do. So here's the meditation part of it. Peace, tranquility, silence, transparency, and the letting go into the greater. This card points me to that which is behind all noise, form, light, movement, and so on. I could call it nothing, but it is less than that. And it is silence, too. Notice the and. It is space, allowance, and absolute openness. Silence is that which always is. Throughout the coming to be and passing away of the clamor of noise, silence is the space within which the noise can arise from and return to. Silence abides. I like that. Silence abides. It makes it all possible, and when faced with any seemingly insurmountable noise, that would be life itself sometimes, silence, stillness, reigns ultimate in its unconquerableness. So when things get loud in your life, literally loud or figuratively loud, it's time to go into silence. It's time to turn off socials. It's time to stop watching the news. It's time to stop having conversations about those kinds of things for a period of time. Doesn't mean you're going to withdraw forever, but there's peacefulness and a tranquility. Maybe you say, I'm going to go garden for a while. Maybe you say, I'm going to go read a book. I'm going to go sit on the porch and listen to the birds sing. All of those examples of a silence of sorts will be healing to your whole beingness, okay? And the inquiry question, Cindy, if you wouldn't mind posting this, I'd appreciate it. What can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? What can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? And I've known a fair number of artists in my life, and one of the things they talk about is knowing when to stop. When is it at its peak of creation? And if they keep going, they're going to mess it up. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. So, what can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? And sometimes, we've seen this, have we not? When something is disturbing us, when something is amiss, when there's something bubbling but we don't know what it is yet, leave it alone. Don't go diving in after it. Allow it to unfold. Good morning, Mary. Glad you're here. Allow it to unfold. Allow it to present itself to you. I'm not saying you run away from it. Be open to it, but you don't have to pursue it. That's the divine masculine thing. The divine feminine thing is receiving it, being open to receiving it. When it is divine right timing and divine right order for this thing to open up and present to me, I trust that it will. So I will bide my time doing the other things I do, being who I am, waiting for this thing to open up and present itself to me. That is the only time when we can do something productive with it anyway. We all know the story of if you try to help the butterfly out of the chrysalis, you cripple it for life. It has to go through that struggle, and it has to take divine right timing and divine right order for that to be okay. Good morning, Tammy. Glad you're here. We practice the acceptance of what is. We practice the acceptance of what is. This is how it is right here, right now. I create my own suffering when I insist that it be different than it is. If I allow it to be what it is, and I get on with my life, focusing on the things that I do want, not wasting my time on the things that are amiss. That's not where my attention needs to be. It may feel like you're working on it through the back door, but that's actually the front door. The front door is when you focus on what it is you want and you take the steps to arrive there. When you are centered in the present, even if there are aspects of the present that aren't serving you, don't feel good, etc. This is reality right here, right now. I am working toward my new reality. My new reality. Amanda Ellis was also talking about old earth and new earth. And old earth, not the dying donkey kicks the hardest. Going out with a fight, that's okay. Allow that fight. It can fight all it wants, but it's old earth and it's on its way out, and new earth is already being born. So strong anchor going down, strong antenna going up. I love that analogy. Just breathe into that. That's you. You are that antenna. You're receiving. You're receiving. And the more you can take moments to still yourself, to be quiet, to just be, to do repetitive things like doing the dishes. Thich Nhat Hanh talked about elevating dishwashing to a spiritual thing. That silence of doing the dishes, being, and if you have a dishwasher, maybe once in a while you do the dishes by hand instead, just to have that opportunity. Or other things. Gardening is a fabulous one. Gardening is a spiritual experience. I'm sure I can get a witness for that from many of you. Mara? So, here's our card again. Dimensional of Celestial, victorious silence. Victorious silence. So, your mission today, should you choose to accept it, is take some aspect of this and just ponder it. Just ponder it. You might want to talk to someone about it if you have someone you could share with. You might want to journal about it. What about this grabbed you? For me, it's moving us again beyond the limitations, our self-imposed limitations, what we choose not to see, seeing with our spiritual eyes, hearing with our spiritual ears, all of those intuition, all that good stuff, all right? So, have a fine Monday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.